How are you doing, guys? I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today I wanted to do a video on my long-awaited Motormaster. This is from Transformers The Legacy line. I'd been waiting for this guy for a while. I had seen a couple of other reviews, pictures on the forums, etc. So I was definitely very eager to get mine in hand, and I did. Initially, I was going to wait and keep this guy for a while in the box until I had more time. But recently, I noted a couple of folks online were stating that their copies either had yellowing on the plastic in certain parts or missing like pins on certain panels. Um, so I just wanted to open mine just in case to double check, make sure nothing was broken or that nothing was loose, just in case I needed to do an exchange. I did get this via Big Bad Toy Store. It was part of my pile of loot. So again, let's get to it. So this is the nice box, really nice. I like the purple motif. It reminds me of a very Decepticon-like color. And then here's, of course, the big man, which is Menasor there. Really cool. And in here on the left, on the back of the box, you see Motormaster there, and as a robot and alt mode, the truck mode. You can also make a base out of the trailer there, but I probably won't mess around with that. And then obviously they show you Menasor. My assumption is that Hasbro or Takara are trying to keep the other two limbs secret for whatever reason. I know we've already seen one of them in addition to Dragstrip and Wall Rider, so, but whatevs. But really cool box if that's something you get to keep. He comes in the box already in vehicle mode, so I figured that that's where we can get started. But overall, really cool packaging. And as I said, I already have this open, and the way he comes in the box is like this. Really cool. Let me give you a close-up, and then we'll be right back. Alrighty, so Motormaster. As I said, he comes in the box in his truck mode. Really cool, really faithful to the G1 cartoon. The trailer itself does look a bit, I guess, small. It looks like it almost could have been maybe an inch or 2 inches longer to sort of be in scale with the cab, but it doesn't look bad at all. It's a really, really cool alt mode. Again, very faithful to the cartoon there. Thankfully, I haven't seen any issues with my copy yet, so no missing pins. I don't see any yellowing plastic as of yet, and there were no missing pieces or anything. So I'm really glad after reading all the stuff that other folks were dealing with in their copies that mine seems to be in a fairly good place. Also, no loose joints or anything. That's what I saw, I think, on one of I think on Reddit, where somebody had a really loose copy, like the legs and everything was really floppy. So thankfully mine, none of those. So you can obviously take this trailer part away from the cab. And this is pretty much where most of the body, the limbs, you could see here's a chest. That's where most of this stuff is. So I guess you could say he's a bit of a parts former because a lot of this is used in the Menasor mode anyway. But I don't mind it. I think it's a cool way of doing Menasor anyway. And these pieces do come apart. My only gripe about this specific thing is the wheels back here is they don't seem to stay tabbed in for mine. And there is a little nub there that's supposed to go tabbed into there, but sometimes if you move it too rough, like if you could see the wheels kind of just come off to the side. So it would have been nice if that tabbed in a little more securely. The back here doesn't open. Obviously a lot of the stuff in there is for Menasor. I love the Decepticon symbol, really nice gray, and again the purple for the Decepticons. It's really, really cool trailer. Put him aside. And then the main guy, at least for now, is Motormaster here. Pretty faithful, reminds me again a lot of what was in the cartoon. And also reminds me of Optimus Prime, obviously, from a cab perspective. Really cool. I like the way they've done this. I wish they would have somehow found a way to cover this section here. And maybe even like found a way to cover all this. But no, no biggie. That would be like nitpicks. But overall, the truck mode is very faithful, is very nice. If a cartoon is something that you're definitely into, this is a really cool truck mode. So since he's already in truck mode, I kind of figured we just go ahead and do the comparisons to the two other trucks that I have here. And of course, obviously, it would have to be Optimus Prime. This is the Earthrise version of Optimus Prime. But you guys could see them there together, side to side. Obviously, Motormaster is much bigger. At least the cab part, you guys could see them. Lengthwise, they're probably about the same. But you guys could see the cab on Motormaster is a bit more mass to it. So just want to show those two there together for anyone that may be interested. So we'll put Optimus aside. The other truck mode is, here is the Motormaster from Combiner Wars, this line that came out years ago. I do have all the Stunticons from the Combiner Wars line. So really cool to now get a more updated, more accurate version of Motormaster. This is by no means actually a bad figure by itself. I think a lot of the faults of these toys of the Combiner Wars were in the combined mode. The combined mode was absolute garbage. Sorry, just to put it plainly. But this car mode is actually really cool. They're pretty similar in size, these two. You guys could see them there. Obviously, this is more of a close interpretation of pretty much what was in the cartoon, where this is more of a, I guess they took liberties, certainly. They kept some of the same color scheme, the purple, a lot of the gray and black. But they're similar in size, in all honesty. But really cool to now be able to have, as I said, a more faithful to the cartoon or to G1 Motormaster. Really, really cool. I figure maybe the next thing that we could do is do the transformation for Motormaster into robot mode. Alrighty, so now we have Motormaster here in his robot mode in all his glory, and I gotta say he looks awesome. Again, me being a G1 kid here, this is definitely something that it's just great to see. The figure came out looking awesome. He has a bit of a backpack with the wheels that are part of the truck. A lot of the paneling, so the front of the truck is mainly a lot of these leg parts. I like that they use here the front to emulate what was in the cartoon, right? Because usually in the cartoon you saw that the front of the truck was essentially his feet. Obviously, this is not the front of the alt mode. You know, they use some kind of I guess these are essentially fake front for the truck, but really cool. Great articulation, nice ratcheting, some nice knee movement. His can turn him fully 360. Same thing with the head. The only thing with the head is that you can't look up or down, but in all honesty, that's because of the shape of the head, and I think that's, you know, expected. I think physically you can't move it. The arms, again, great articulation there, fully, knees, elbows. You can turn the hands, the fists fully around. Same thing here. And again, one of the cool things that I've seen done with this one and with Soundwave from the Studio series from the Bumblebee line is, I like the fact that rather than leaving empty cavities, you know, to tucking the fists, I like that they're doing this where, you know, in any figure, I love when they do this, right? They give you this panel so that there's no hollow spots on the figure. So really cool. As I said, thankfully my copy does not have any yellowing that I can see for now anyway. The white is white. The parts that are supposed to be gray are gray, and then the dark is really cool. But I am really pleased with this guy. This is definitely Motormaster. I think he could have stood maybe to be just a tad taller. But I mean, I can't really complain. That's me just nitpicking the figure. The transformation actually just for the truck mode is not that complicated. It's a lot of paneling, and a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of the paneling and the truck and the cab anyway are here in the legs. So there's some really cool engineering that they did. Really cool stuff there. And he's very tall, very imposing, very poseable. So again, thumbs up on this guy. I think they did a really great job, and I can't wait to get my drag strip or dead end and wild rider and the other guy. Um, really cool. And then what we'll do next is probably do some comparisons. So now we're back and we'll do some quick robot mode comparisons. And the first one, here he is next to Optimus Prime. They are about the same size, just about. So I like that. I think they scale pretty well. I think it's pretty accurate to what was in a cartoon. So not too bad there. And it's so nice to finally see these two guys together. I love how cartoon accurate, for the most part, this guy really is. And you guys could see them there together facing off. As I said, he's got a bit of a backpack, but it doesn't really bother me so much because I think they've done such a great job putting these this Motormaster figure together, and I think it fits so well here with Optimus Prime. So we'll put Prime aside for now. And here he is next to Combiner Wars Motormaster. I don't think this is by means a bad figure, you know, in this mode. Obviously, the wheels are kind of just hanging out and etc. This is what I mean about the engineering. Granted, it's been so many years since this figure came out to now, so obviously you expect improvements. But it's really cool that they've been able to give us a Motormaster that is very accurate again to the cartoon. This guy's not so bad. I actually like this little robot mode as it is right here. I actually wish that this guy would be about the same size and heft as the Combiner Wars Motormaster. But other than that, this one's got it beat in pretty much all areas. Other than the size and the height. This guy is a little taller. You could see here the head on Combiner Wars Motormaster. He looks a little dopey. But this guy looks so cool. Very accurate again. Not a bad toy by any means. But this kind of just blows it out of the water. Also, as far as articulation, like this guy, you can either only get him to stand like that, or the ratchets for whatever reason were really far apart. So the next click on the ratchets is like this. So he would be stuck in a V-stand. You can't do anything in between because of the way the ratchets were designed. Again, not a bad toy by any means, but you could see them there together side by side. You can see the back here. Really cool. So then I figured we could do the trailer itself. And so here's the trailer. This thing comes apart into different sections and pieces. So for example, this front part with the Decepticon insignia is that it's held in by tabs, and once you pull this out here, you'll see Motormaster's sword, and it's kind of just tabbed in there. This is pretty much the turret part of the base mode, and obviously you could tell this is a chest for Menasor along with his torso. And the sword's really cool. I like it again that they were able to keep it a sword that you can use here. And there he is. He holds it in place really well. He could do a He-Man cosplay like I have the power. But really cool. There he is with his big meat cleaver. So we'll put him aside. And as I said, this is mainly the chest part. This just kind of all tabs out of place. You got to move these out. And then once you do that, there's this part just kind of comes out. As I said, this part's supposed to be like a turret section for the base mode. This doesn't really play a part in the robot mode at all, or in Menasor, rather in the combiner mode. So you could sort of play with it until you get it in place. And there's a turret part that sort of goes in here. And you could stand it up like that and put the cannon up here. So we'll put that aside. This little part right here is essentially the chest. So Motormaster has can transform into the section, and I won't show the transformation, but I'll show him transform and how he goes clipped in here. But this is essentially his chest and the legs, and I love the really tight ratchets. With you guys can hear them; they are clicky, and you guys can start to see here the the legs, and these things for the legs are actually combiner ports. So if you have the older Combiner Wars figures or any figures that could fit in here, this is the same connection, at least for the legs. It is. This part here, you kind of just take it and turn it around, and it goes like that. Once it's like that, then you can turn it, because this Menasor does have waist articulation, and there you go. Here is the pretty much the upper torso with the upper part of the legs, but this is where Motormaster will go in, and you know, once we get him into that mode, I'll show you guys how he fits in there. So we'll put that aside. So as you can see, this is one part of the trailer there. The other part is essentially his legs and his hands. So you kind of just pull this out, and in here, these are his bottom legs, his support there. So you can just pull these out into two. And this is the cannon part, or the gun part, that I was talking about earlier. You kind of just pull this out and pull this like that, and you're kind of ready to go. And you can put this cannon part right here. And you can use this in base mode, or, you know, anyone out there who has more imagination than me I'm sure can come up with a million configurations for this. But it's supposed to be some kind of cannon. These things here, very simple. These are the legs. These are exactly where the other Decepticons, the Stunticons, will go. So you kind of just pull this out. You guys can see the foot there. Once you have this like that, just pull that out, and there you go. You have a foot. And then this part here, you can goes in there. And there's like some kind of spring-loaded mechanism here. I'm assuming this is to fit in the you know, Wall Rider and the other guy. I forget their names. Dead End. But they're supposed to be facing back because this is the front of the foot. I wish this was a little shorter, but I get why they did it. Not only is it from a stability standpoint, but also because my understanding is the front part of the cars that go here are going to be sitting flat against here, but nothing too bad. But I will say, you know, you do get ankle tilt here, which is really cool, and it's really tight. So I love that, because I know the previous Combiner Wars Menasor was a floppy mess. Even once you got third-party kits and everything, that thing just was not stable at all. So here you go. Similarly, all this does is make me want to get my other figures already. You know, I wish they would release them quickly. And as I said, these ports here are very similar to the Combiner board ports. If anything, they're kind of like the same thing. So you kind of just slide that in, and just want to make sure I have it in the right place. Slides into place. It's got to match up the tabs here, and that's it. So here you go. Here is pretty much Menasor. I'll lift you guys up so you guys can see it. You know, so we'll put that aside. The arms again are pretty cool. These are pretty much what the arms are. For these, this whole trailer just kind of comes apart. So you separate it, and each section is an arm. So you kind of, you take this, you fold it all the way down. You take that, you fold that. So as long as it sits like that, you are good to go. Then a lot of these sections here, like these are the fists, the hands. So you kind of just rotate that. It's a lot of folding of pieces. So you kind of just fold that, and then you bend it in place. Same thing here. You're gonna do that, and it kind of sits in place. And there you could see kind of like the arm, and then the wheels you kind of just tuck in there, and you pop that in, and here's an arm. And essentially this is where the, you know, drag strip and I forget the other guy's name are gonna go tabbed in here in two different pieces. Really cool, just like the cartoon, but again, strong ratchets. And this is what's gonna go into Motormaster once, you know, you get him into that robot mode. But really cool. And here are the fists. No articulated fingers, but again, seems like really strong ratchets there. And then the same thing here. Just gonna fold these panels down, fold them on themselves like that. Then you're going to take the fist, push it out, take this like that, and then same thing here. You're just gonna, when you do that, there you go, take these wheels, tuck them in, and just tab that in. And again, here's the other arm. Really cool. So this is what I said when I meant earlier, a bit of a parts former, but in all honesty, I don't mind it, at least not for Menasor. I'm just glad we're finally getting a stable Menasor. But here are the arms. And then what I'll do next, I'll transform Motormaster into his torso mode, and then you guys could see how he sort of fits in there. Okay, so I finally had a chance to get Motormaster here in the torso mode for Menasor, and as you guys could see, it's a pretty cool torso mode. The head is just so awesome and so accurate to, again, that G1 cartoon. It's just awesome to see such a cool representation. It's so nice to have such an accurate figure. This is pretty much well tabbed in, at least my copy. There's nothing loose. There's a lot of tabs. Everything is held in place nicely. It feels very solid. You guys could see these are Motormaster's arms right here, folded in, tabbed into here. And these are pretty much his legs folded over his torso. Motormaster's head is in the cavity here. It kind of just flips over and you replace it, but pretty cool. I mean, it looks really, really nice. And essentially, this gets tabbed into the bigger Menasor body via these two sections here and this thing in the middle. And there's also a tab in the back. So let me take the legs off of this guy so we can see better. But essentially, you'll see in there, as I said, a section here and here and here where these parts would essentially go tabbed in. And there's also this part in the back. But essentially, you kind of just, marry them together. They tab in place very well, actually. And then the last thing you kind of just do is there is this purple tab that goes in here just to tie in the lower portion of the body to the top. And you kind of just tab that in place, and there it is. Here is Menasor, and then the last thing is just these two things kind of go in there to create the shoulders. But that looks awesome. You know, that right away looks really, really nice. Completely blows out of the water the Combiner Wars version, to me at least. This is just so much better. It feels great in the hand. And as I said, the arms kind of just go, there's these sections here that slide in place. So they kind of just go, they slide in there like that. And then the same thing with this arm here. He slides in right in place here. And obviously he looks very skinny there with the arms because, I don't have drag strip or the other guy still hasn't been announced, I don't think. But yeah, this just looks awesome. And then obviously once you add the legs here, they kind of just go, again, these are just like the Combiner Wars ports. There is this extra tab section here in the white part that you can kind of make sure you match up correctly. Same thing here. You're just gonna slide this in, and already in hand, this guy just feels so much better than Combiner Wars. If you are familiar with that Combiner's War toy, that thing was a floppy mess. It could barely stand up on its own. It was very squat. The proportions of it were completely off. Initially, when I saw this guy in pictures, I thought the proportions were a little off. Like his arms seem a little too long for the rest of his body. But I think in person, that's not so much the case. But I think, once we get Drag Strip and Wild Rider and Dead End and the fourth guy whose name I keep forgetting, this thing's just gonna look awesome. The one thing, and again, this is more of a nitpick on my end, is that I wish he would have been a little taller. This guy is about the same size as the other Combiner War combiners. I was kind of hoping he would be more in size with somebody like the Devastator that was part of Combiner Wars. So this guy is more in line with like the Combaticons, so Bruticus and Superion and those guys size wise. But I mean, I think other than that, this thing is just awesome. I don't have any issues with mine. This thing is solid. You know, and as far as like articulation and sort of things with this guy, he does have you know, there's nice big ratchets there to hold things in place. And granted, I know, you know, the vehicles are missing, so maybe once those are on, it'll add a bit more weight. But at least for now, the basic skeleton seems to be in a way better place than the Combiner Wars version was. Nice ratchets here. The hands also have ratchets and turn. The waist, he completely could do a complete turn, which is something that the Combiner Wars toy could only dream of doing. Nice stick ratchets, you heard it there. Even on the knees. I mean, those are thick. So, sorry right there. The only thing I guess is, you know, you have to be careful so that things don't slip out. But, you know, I can't complain about this guy, at least not right away. I think first, you know, on first view, this guy is just, it's great. He is awesome. I cannot complain. I think Hasbro has done a good job. I guess I said is if I were to nitpick it, it would just be the size, sort of there. But there you go. Again, there's ratchets here on the ankles as well. And I guess again, if I would need if I would need to nitpick it, it would be I wish this thing would be just a little bigger. But as far as the proportions, the way he looks, the accuracy to G1, this thing is it's so cool. It's so nice to be able to now have a great looking Menasor, at least in my collection. I guess just the one thing I think, I don't know if you saw, you would just need to be careful in the back when you're pivoting the knees so that these things don't slip out. It would have been nice if perhaps I don't know, they added some sections here to lock these in place a little better, but I mean, this is already miles ahead of what the other Menasor, the Combiner Wars Menasor, at least that's my point of reference for this guy, where you guys could see it there. Really cool. And it just makes me want to get my drag strip. Big Bad Toy Store, where's my stuff? Please ship it as soon as it gets there, because this is really cool. I just can't wait to see. And stuff like this, you know, that's at least according to the instructions, this could be used as a base or as a gun that he can use. This also, you can try and fit this separately, like this. I guess if he wanted to, he can also hold this as a gun in his hand, on both hands. But I don't know, it looks kind of goofy to me. His sword, he can hold as well, but now it looked great with Motormaster holding it, but I think because Menasor is much bigger, he now sort of looks a little smaller there in place. But the other thing I did want to do is, because these are Combiner War ports, is I wanted to fit the other figures that I have from that set, or at least two of them, the legs. I wanted to fit them in here so that you guys could see that they do fit. They do look a bit goofy though, so water warning. So I have this guy here, and it kind of just, again, slides in place. It doesn't quite match up because, as you could see, there's a clear section here that's not on these older ones. And then pretty much the same thing here. You just slide it in. They're not in place, not as secure as those were. But yeah, now here, and as you saw there, the ankles on these guys, or at least you have to learn how to balance these guys. But just want to show that there. He looks a little goofy, like he's got big shoes, but they do fit if you know, if that's something you want to do for whatever reason. Really cool. I just think it's nice again to be able to have such an awesome Menasor. But um, I think I'll do a quick size comparison to another Combiner Wars combiner that I have laying around. So just give me a second. And just to finish up the video, here's a comparison to Combiner Wars Superion. This is actually the Unite Warriors, the Japanese version, but it does have, as you guys can see, it's got some chest and thigh fillers. It's got like a whole, aftermarket kit and different hands and definitely different feet to fill him out a little because this guy was a little on the thinner side. It's not about looking toy by any means, but it did need a lot of help. But in comparison to something like this, that's completely, I guess, for lack of a better term, stock. It's just missing the cars. This is completely just so awesome. It just makes me hope that Hasbro will do an updated Superion, a Bruticus, the Technobots, the Terracons, and any other combiner because I think they've done such a great job with this guy. It's so awesome. Again, my only gripes being that I would have hoped he wasn't perhaps a little bigger, maybe like extra 2 inches or so, just to make him a bit more imposing. And also, perhaps they would have found a way to lock these knees, at least this sections on the back of the knees, a little better, so they don't slip out too easily. But other than that, he is stable. You guys could just set him down and he stands there. If I move this guy around too much, he will fall over. I think what I'll do is I'll probably do an updated video once I get all the pieces for this guy, like the rest of the limbs. I'll compare him to the Combiner Wars Menasor, but there's no comparison there either. That Menasor was just terrible. This is definitely the way to go. I would say, just to wrap up the video, if you're interested in this, I would definitely say get this. Not only is it just a great Motormaster, but just the fact that you can get it and put Menasor and he looks great, he looks imposing. It's just awesome. So I would say definitely if you're on the fence, is definitely a worthwhile toy to get. So anyway, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, thank you for spending your time with me and enjoy the rest of your day and be safe out there. Take care.